All right, we're rolling.
Hey, Creekside. Boy, do I miss you. And one of the things that I miss most is science. And then it hit me. You can do science in your own backyard. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm doing science in my own backyard. And I've got my friend Herman Snail. And he's going to recite a poem all about himself to you. People call me Pokey because I am so slow. But if you had just 1 foot, how fast could you go? Herman, that is a really good question. And that's the question I have for you. Does a snail have feet? As a matter of fact, a snail has only 1 foot. And I've got some science words for you. And the first science word I have for you is this one. Gastropod. Gastropod. Maybe you've heard grown-ups say, "Oh no, I'm having gastrointestinal problems." And if they say that, they mean they have a bellyache. So gastro has to do with the word belly. I see you looking at my belly. And pod has to do with the word feet. So what I need you to do right now is stand up. Are you standing up? Okay, if you're standing up, I need you to touch your belly and say belly. Now touch your feet and say foot. Do it again. Belly, foot. Now touch your belly again and say gastro. And touch your feet again and say pod. Gastro, pod. Gastro, pod. So a snail is a gastropod, which means they have a belly foot. Now, let's actually look at a snail. I found a snail in my backyard, and I found it in a really cool, shady, almost dark, wet spot. Because if you want to find a snail in your backyard, that's where you'll need to look. So hang on, and I'll get my snail for you. Can I put you down for just a minute? Okay, I'm gonna put him down for just a minute. By the way, if you find a snail, some people don't like to hold them because they think they're icky, but you need to know that a snail can't hurt you, bite you, or sting you in any way. So this is my friend. I wanted to give him a name, but he didn't like any names. He just liked Snail. And he's being really shy right now. But if we can get our friend to come out, we'll see what he looks like. While we're waiting for him to come out, this outside part kind of reminds me of a cinnamon bun. It's a swirl, and that is his shell. And this snail will keep that shell his entire life. It will grow as the snail grows. And he's being really, really shy. While we're still waiting for him to come out, maybe if I get my piece of lettuce, he'll come out. I did get some lettuce for my snail because they do like to eat green things. So hang on, let me get my lettuce. I'll just tear off a little piece of it to maybe get him to come out just a little bit. So while we're waiting, if you've ever looked at where a snail has been crawling, you might have seen something really shiny trailing behind him. A lot of people say, "Ooh, that's a slime trail," but that is really called a mucus trail. And that mucus allows that snail to crawl across things that are bumpy and rough, and it doesn't even hurt them. It just helps them glide all over the place. And that's called his mucus trail. Come on out, little snail. Well, if he were to come out, you would see a head. All snails have a head, and their bodies are really soft and squishy. And at the tip of their head, they have these little things called tentacles. Some people confuse them with an antenna, but an antenna is something an insect has, and an antenna is kind of like hair. But a tentacle is actually part of the snail's body. And if you touch the tentacle, it goes back in his head. It's called retracting. And they do that because their eyesight is not very good. They can sense light and they can sense dark, but they can also feel things with their tentacles. And if they feel something with their tentacle that makes them a little bit nervous, they'll pull their tentacle right back down in their head. Oh, he's starting to wake up. I can see his little tentacles coming out now. Come on out. He's already been really friendly with me. There he is. I'm not going to touch his tentacles yet because he'll want to come out. You might see that he has a long pair of tentacles and he has a short pair of tentacles. So he has 2 pair of tentacles, and he is loving this lettuce. Another great thing about his mucus trail is he can climb upside down. Not very many things can climb upside down without falling. So he's really good at it. He's even turning my lettuce over. So I'm going to just barely touch his tentacle and see if you can watch it retract. Boop. That made him a little bit nervous, but he knows not to be afraid of me. I'm really gentle with him. And I also promised him that after we did the lesson, I would put him back in the dirt. And he was okay with that. So I'm going to put him right back down here. And you don't have to do it right now if you don't have a pencil and paper. But I thought it would be really good. Look, the wind turned my page for me. Thanks, wind. I thought you might want to make a diagram of a snail. So I've got my handy dandy chart markers. Did you know that teachers take chart markers everywhere they go? We do. I'll just use my black chart marker today to make sure that it shows up great for you, okay? Now remember, a diagram is a picture of something that also has words, and the words usually have a line that is pointing to the different parts of the picture. So it's really easy to draw a snail. I'm just going to start drawing a cinnamon bun shape. That looks just like something I might eat for breakfast. But now I'm going to add a head and just kind of a squiggly body underneath. And we can't forget those things on his head, his tentacles. And since we're looking at a land snail, we know that he has 2 long ones and 2 short ones. So I'm going to give him 2 long ones and 2 short ones. And they don't really have eyes. At the end of their tentacles, they got a little spot, and it's called an eye spot. But remember, they sense light and dark. They really don't see very well. They do have a mouth. You can't really see the mouth. And inside their mouth, they don't have teeth. They've got a tongue. And on their tongue, they've got little scrapers called a radula. I love that word. Can you say radula? So I'm going to diagram his eye spots right down there, and his tentacles, which are right there, and the little short ones. And even though we can't see it, I'm going to diagram it just because I love the word. The word is radula, radula. And it's that tongue inside his mouth. And when he crawls around on that little piece of lettuce, he scrapes And that's how he gets food in his tummy. And of course, you know about that big part right there? That's his shell. So we will diagram the shell. And this is what he crawls on. And remember the slime that he leaves behind? Watch how I draw this. It's curly and crazy and everywhere. That's because snails never crawl in a straight line. They crawl in what we call an irregular path. That means not regular, not normal. So we're going to diagram the mucus. There are two ways to spell mucus that are acceptable. One is without the O, and it's just M-U-C-U-S. I like the one with the extra O in it, though. That is the mucus trail. And it's very silvery and slimy. So I hope that you go out in your backyard and find a snail. And when you do, I want you to draw a picture of your snail or take a picture of your snail and share it with us. Share it on Facebook or share it to your teacher's remind, and your teacher can share it with me and maybe I can post them. And I'll also post some great snail stories. And in one of those stories, you even get to act like a snail. So I know some of you are good actors out there. And I wanted to blow you a kiss, goodbye, because I really, really miss you. And my snail had a little problem. He wanted to blow you a kiss too, but he said, Miss Smith, I don't have hands. How can I blow a kiss? So I promised to help him. So hang on just 1 minute. All right, we want you to be able to blow a kiss too. Are you ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Bye, Creekside. Learn a lot about me. See ya.